All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of For the Most Part podcast. If it looking like we tired this morning, that's exactly what's going on here. um, Listen, this is part of the art form. You know, we both out here creatives, and I mean, and the guest that we have here today is I don't know, like I don't know, I can't say it just like a rapper or a singer. I think we're gonna just have to let Kid Phase. That's your stage name. That's how you say it, Kid Phase.
That's how you say it.
Vibes. Um, Tell us a bit about himself. What he was doing this morning, and just kind of give us like some insight as to your creative process. Talk about some of your releases because this man's channel is lit and the quality stuff that's coming out is just
All right.
yeah. So tell us about yourself. Tell us, how you got into making music, and we'll see how the conversation goes.
All right. Have you seen some of the stuff?
If I have seen some of the stuff, my whole team has been listening to your music, bro. So let's just get that straight, right? We have been listening. Yeah,
Fine.
we've been listening. Yeah.
I like most people get like taken away by Kiddo Boy, the anime actor that I do. The guy, he's one of my projects. Like you said, I can't really label myself a rapper or just a singer. I'm more than that. I'm a producer. I'm just really a creative all around. And I'm an actor, if you want to say that, because everything that Kiddo Boy does, that was actually me in a bodysuit doing those motions. Or making skits and doing just visual content. It's really cool though, because one of my big goals is to own a theme park, and I guess I'm like following or I'm influenced by the Walt Disney method, how to structure his business to what it is today, and that's through characters.
Right.
I really would just I want to be a big entertainment player, one of the big players, not just in music, but also like film, animations, even comedy. I mean, I'm not trying to be a comedian, but I'd love to put on comedy programs, because I think as I got older, as I'm getting older, I appreciate stand-up comedy and things like that. Like, I don't really care to go out to like a party too much. I'd rather go watch somebody tell some funny jokes. Even boxing, boxing is a great sport. It's dangerous, but still a great sport. Being a boxing promoter, there's always an idea in the back of my head. I just like entertainment. I'm a very servant person, and I just want to make sure that, like, seeing a client or somebody happy or satisfied with work or smiling, laughing, helping people come together and enjoy a moment, that's like really dope for me. Whether it be with the music, but music is at the heart. Music is definitely at the heart.
I think we could all agree that music is at the heart, because that's something that that it's a universal language, I would say, and as a truth, like we always hear it's a universal language, but I'm saying it now, like, I'm sure we could speak two different languages, but if a song in one language shows up that's not common to us, we're still gonna listen to that song, and we're gonna probably get some feeling and some understanding as to what that.
Like, I was in a studio like 2 days ago, and I was talking to a friend, and I was telling him my process, and I was telling him I mumble first. So like when I hear the beat and I perform, I tell my engineer to let me record just a mumble reference. It's not really any words. I'm just making sounds with my mouth.
Yeah.
And essentially what I do with that is after we have the reference, I go back and I listen to it, and I put words behind those same sounds that I was making with my mouth, with my voice. I put words to try to match it. And I do that because music, so for example, a lot of times I don't understand what a musician is saying in the genre of Afrobeats or in um, Spanish music.
Yeah.
But I don't need to enjoy it, because it's not really about what they're saying. It's just about how it sounds,
Yep.
and that's the world appeal of music. The worldly appeal is just a lot of times we don't know what they're saying, but it sounds really good, and that's the music behind the words. You know, it's every syllable is a note on the music sheet.
Yeah, that's. So now, not to because we're in a deep part of the conversation here. Talk about some of the releases that you've had, because I'm gonna drop a link in the description, guys. With Kid Phase's YouTube channel,
So
you could see that there's hard work being put into the creativity, and you can see that there is a thought process for each and every single, not just the song, but for the videos. There's always there's a story, and you can follow it. So talk to us a bit about that, your creative process. Dive more into the studio experience for me a little bit. So aside from just you have the track and you mumble and the words, and I know I know what you mean by mumbling, because when I'm writing songs, I don't know what I'm about to sing, so I'm just picking up a melody, a flow, as they
exactly,
say,
exactly,
and I'm just there like no, 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 and
exactly.
until we figure out what we want to say. That's just it. So tell me a little bit about that in studio. What when Kid Face walks in, what's the first thing that goes down, and then what happens after?
Well, studio. One thing about me is I don't. After I pick my beats, I don't listen to them until I'm in the studio. I don't.
Oh,
I don't. Yeah. I don't write outside of the studio,
right.
because I feel like when I hear the music, it makes me feel a certain way, and if I hear the music too much, that feeling starts to diminish, and I'm not gonna feel the
Mm,
same way I did when I first, that I lose that excitement.
right,
Um,
right.
and I like the fact that when with my process being that I don't write outside of the studio, how I'm feeling that day will have a or that week will have an influence on the music. So I get to actually put that into the music rather than trying to. If I write, I feel like if I write prior to going to the studio, prior to recording it, I might write it and feel some type of way that at that moment I wrote it, but when it comes time to recording it, I don't feel the same way that I
Yeah.
did when I wrote it. So it's not going to be performed how I want or I imagined initially how it would be. So that's one thing. I don't listen to beats before the studio. I don't write before the studio.
Mm,
I mumble, reference. Um, I'm trying to get better at freestyling, because even though I'm mumbling, I'm pretty much freestyling melodies.
still, yeah, yeah.
Um, but trying to put more words behind it. Um, Outside of the music, I mean, I gotta be able to dance. If I ain't
Mm,
dancing in the music, it ain't music. I can't sell it. I gotta be able to move. If it don't move me, then I'm not interested. I like to
mm.
dance, like to have fun, or if it's not a happy song, it's gotta have some substantial content to it.
Right.
Um,
So you mean if it's not necessarily a happy positive song, and if there's a serious message, it has to
yeah,
be clear cut, straightforward,
yeah,
something that people can follow.
for sure,
Right.
definitely. I'm very true to my music. I don't just say anything just to say anything.
Mm.
If it don't represent me, then it's not me. I'm not gonna do it. Um, After the music is done, I work with a pretty close team. Like I've found my system. I've After like years of doing this, I'm like 10 years in now. After years of doing
Wow.
this, I found like I have engineers. I know which equipment I like to use. I know my sound. I know my style, and I think that equates into the videos. The videos are my music is just an audio representation of a facet of my life, and
Yeah.
so the videos, that's what they just become the visual portion of it. Like I shot a video in Puerto Rico called Montclair Baby,
Mm.
That's because I wrote the song after visiting Puerto Rico for the first time, and I mentioned Puerto Rico, so I was like, I have to go to Puerto Rico to shoot this because I'm not only because I'm already half Puerto Rican, I have to show people what I saw when I first came to Puerto Rico.
Mm.
Um, I like to travel, and I like to put that on camera.
So like a
'Cause
vlog sort of.
Well, I'm going into life, the vlog life and world of documenting. But even for like the videos, I like different things. So like me being creative, it doesn't just mean ideas. Being creative is also being creative with your budget. So you
Mm.
might not have $10,000 to spend on a video, but if you have 1,000, you can make it look like 10. You
Yeah,
can just have
that's
to be
true.
creative
That
about
is true.
how
That is true.
you go about it. I like to do different things. Like I don't know. Like I get bored kind of fast. I'm not gonna lie. So something has to be fresh. I like to do original things. I like to be inspired by others, but I really just like to do original things. Something I never did before that I think could be pretty cool, and
Mm.
I spin on it. I just like to be different. I don't like hype, man. I hate hype. I hate I hate when, I hate when people are copying each other. They're just following trends. It's so boring. It's so boring.
Because what I was gonna ask is, how do you, uh, like, let's just say if one of your songs decides to blow up and it does become a trend, how are you gonna deal with that?
Um,
How? Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
I think the business me is gonna say we're gonna milk it. We're gonna get everything we can out of it. But creatively, me, I'm more so thinking about the next move, and I guess that's
Mm.
business too. I'm always thinking about, okay, how do we follow up? Because I definitely don't see myself as a one hit wonder type of artist. I'm definitely more of a discography type of artist, somebody with multiple records on there.
Right, right.
So, some Lil Wayne said I've seen recently, I don't know where, but it was like, he said something about scrolling. All right, so people who make content on on social media, when you get that, when you're scrolling and you stop at that one piece, you're scrolling and you stop at that one that caught your attention and made you watch, you know, with all the content that there is on the internet today, to have that moment, to have somebody stop and watch your stuff, you need to do that every time. Find a
Mm.
way to make sure you stop the watcher, stop the consumer, to make them focus on you. So,
Right.
that's just the kind of player I am. I'm trying to be the best, one of the goats. So I'm not just thinking about one. I'm thinking about all.
All right, right, right. So talk to me a bit about the music market in the US, because here's the thing. I'm in Trinidad and Tobago. I can only speculate as to what the market is like, what the interactions are like. I've been to the States, obviously, and I mean, and this is a general thing. I know a lot of people and a lot of musicians travel to the US and they take it to, oh, no, no, no. But we take in the tourist culture. We don't actually take in living in the US, making content in the US. We don't have that struggle of paying bills in USD, by the way, guys. I'm just making this clear. We don't pay bills in the US. We don't record in the studios in the US. There's some of us do, some of the so-called artists down here do travel to the US and they probably work with one or two people out there. What is that like for you? Because, I mean, would you say it's a sustainable thing? Do you have to have a side hustle? You know, how are you making all of this work?
Well, I'm fortunate to be in a position where I have a budget and I'm making moves to where I like to make decisions today that
Right.
will still help me 50 years from now. So I moved from just going to the studio and paying for studio time to buying my own equipment, buying the same
Right.
equipment that you see at these professional studios. Like I live in Orlando, and I am like 95% certain that no studio in Orlando has the equipment that I have, and
Right.
I record on the same stuff that you'll go to a super studio in LA or a super studio
Mm.
in Miami and find. That's the stuff I use. That's because I've been going to these studios and I learned that, okay, these guys keep using this microphone on me. They keep using this compressor on me. They keep using
Yeah.
this preamp. Okay, I need to get these because this is the
These things.
sound that's working. So let me get this
Mm.
stuff so that I can now. And I just recently I bought a house so that I can take one of the rooms and turn it into
Contribute it to the studio.
right. So that way I can save costs and even potentially when you get a major label involved, I can pay myself through the recording budget. Studio can
Right.
get some of that money, and that's income for the studio. As far as like, it's just like I said, creativity goes beyond just art. It's also
Yeah.
about how well you can be creative with money.
Managing your funds, basically.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Because you're gonna have to, as you said, you have to budget. You have to know, like, okay, these are the subscriptions I have to pay. So, like, I know some people can't afford, like, Isotope, for example, and that's one of the big mastering softwares that's out there. So some of them may not pay the full thing. Might be about, I think, $3.99 US for it, and in Trinidad, that's a lot of money for us. So what we would do is we would buy the monthly subscription, and what we would do is then, well, all right. So hopefully, if we have like a bunch of projects in this 1 month, we'd maximize using Isotope for that 1 month. So that's kind of like how we budget. And then we just cancel the subscription, because if nobody about to just continue paying and nothing is actually running in that month, So you make a good point. You have to also budget, and I think that that's a critical thing.
Yeah,
Now,
you should not to put you out, but you should budget, but don't
limit.
Don't limit or don't cut yourself short and sacrifice the quality of your work.
Yeah. So, like, for example, would you say getting a decent microphone or a good microphone or the best microphones, and you keep saving and then you buy and you keep building like that, or do you invest in everything one time?
Well, my situation was a little bit different, and I was able to source everything at once.
Right.
But you can always build, like I said, my equipment is up there with the LAs and the New Yorks.
Right.
There are several great mics, and even like I have analog equipment. A lot of the best way to go on it with a budget is to get these digital compressors, these digital plugins that essentially do the same thing.
Yeah.
So you don't have to go about it to where you spend all of your money. You don't want to spend all of your bread. You need to allocate properly.
Right. Okay. So what advice would you give to, let's just say there's an 18-year-old kid, maybe a guy or a girl, that wants to get into doing what you do? And that's not just being the artist, but also being, like, I would say, your own manager in a way, being your own producer, because I know a few of them, but I also know that they're going to make some dumb choices, and I've seen it happen firsthand.
Okay.
What advice would you give to them?
Well, I hope that they're younger than 18. I hope they're 14. I hope they're 12. And they're deciding this, because the earlier, the younger you are, the earlier you start, the better. My dad always told me that. You should have started 2 weeks ago. With that, I have a video. My content director, he's a young guy, still in high school, and I was talking to my manager about him. I introduced the idea of him to my manager. I said, hey, I got this young guy, what's great about him being so young is that he has a lot of time. He doesn't have like real responsibilities yet. What's bad about him being so young is that he's young and he might not have the discipline yet. He might not have the real drive, the amount of
Yeah.
effort to really put in towards this, because this is not, a lot of people think I'm gonna drop one song and it's gonna go negative.
Yeah.
It's not what's gonna happen. That is not what's gonna happen. This requires a great amount of work. Like, you
Mm,
need to. My manager wants me to put out a record every week. Um,
I agree. I
you
agree.
need to
You
really
have to be
put in.
consistent. You have to be
You have to
consistent,
be
even
consistent.
in yeah,
Consistent
even
with
in
releasing, consistent with
even in
quality,
the downtime. Yeah, yeah, I
even
agree.
in downtime. There is really no breaks, especially, all right, when you are a musician, you are a business, you are you are the company.
The
Your
downtime is
company,
being paid for, basically. So you have to keep working. You have to keep
right? There is no,
yeah.
sometimes people don't sleep. People really, self-employed, independent entrepreneurship is not all shits and giggles. Like,
Yep.
it's hard work. It's, you have to, you care the most about it. Nobody cares about it more than you, because it's your life and
Mm,
your career. So you're a young person trying to do this, understand that you will need to separate yourself from a lot of what your peers are doing
yep.
to do what you want to do. You won't have time to socialize, even though you should, but you will. When I was in middle school, I had a principal tell me that he had his friends, but he was also very serious about his work, and his friends knew that. So when it was time to go do his homework, he said, "All right, y'all boys, I'm gonna holler at y'all." And it was like they already knew what time it is, and it has to be like that when you are an
Mm,
entrepreneur or a musician. You need to be able to separate work, separate love, separate friendships, separate hobbies, and really have to hone into your craft. You know, you will get better. You probably won't be great at first. You'll have potential. You'll see what nobody else sees, but you will have to put in those hours to perfect your craft. And if nobody's there to help you at first and you really believe in it, then you have to make all the answers come. You have to provide all the solutions.
mm,
You have to wear every hat at first until
yeah.
people start seeing that, okay, there's something going on here. How can I help? Because that's not going
Yeah.
to happen at first. And if it happens at first, it's probably a friend or a family, somebody who doesn't really know what they're doing, but they're interested, which might not be the greatest thing for you.
Wow. Wow. I mean, yeah. I think that's a great way and a great note to end this discussion. Listen, kids, we're gonna have to have your back on, right? Because you see how in deep, like this conversation could go in different directions. But one thing we have to understand that he's a very busy guy. He has stuff to go and do. People downtime is money. We have to remember that, right? And I would really love for us to kind of pick back up on this note, on this topic, another time, very very soon. I mean,
Absolutely.
season 6 is
I
like
love the
4 months
business
now,
of
so
music.
yeah,
I tell my friends, you know, I believe the lifetime of an performer, an artist, is relatively short for a typical. When you look at careers, people retire at 55.
yeah,
Artist probably has a good career. 10 years is pretty good career in music. 10 years, 20 years. Wow, you did 20 years. You're amazing. 30, you have 30. You are legendary. There's not too many
yeah,
people that can say that they were active for 30 years. So, with that said, I always tell people that I always want to play a part in music, whether that's being a performer
yeah,
or not. I like to produce. I like to help people make music. I like to experience music, to create music that just feels, sounds good. Um, I like the business of music. Trying to,
mm,
like, the management and the business and the executive producer, putting A and B together and making magic
yeah,
happen.
yeah, yeah. So one question before we wrap: how long did it take you to get from where you started to where you are now? And I think that's a good question to enlighten the young ones, especially our peers, because I think a lot of people get it twisted that, oh well, it's just gonna take me a year.
Nah,
Mm-mm.
I'm from the first time I recorded behind a real microphone, Not saying first time I recorded behind a microphone, it was like on some. Me and my friends were just freestyling in high school. It was like a not even a Pro Tools. It was, I don't know what it was called. It was a boo boo software. Like, and it was like a, see, like you have a professional microphone in front of you. This was like a little pencil microphone that,
wow.
it was like basically it was the earphone on your like
the wired headphones.
Yeah, wired headphones. Pretty much that. It was pretty much that. I ain't gonna lie, that's probably better. That was probably better. But when I touched a real microphone, that was 2013. So it's 2023 right now, and that means I'm about 10 years in.
10 years in, yeah.
And I still got a credible amount of work to go. It's not gonna be overnight. But that's why I said to start as early as possible, because at 2013 I was already 20 years old.
Yeah.
19, 20 years old. If I would have started at 12, 13, that work has to be put in to perfect your craft, to perfect your artistry, and it takes time.
Yeah.
Start early. At least for me, I wasn't at that age. I didn't think that being an artist was a real thing.
Yeah.
I didn't know how you can be Lil Wayne. How does somebody be this? I didn't think it was actually tangible until I started meeting people in the music business, and I realized, oh, this is something this is a real job. Like, this is actually something that somebody can do. So I doubted. Not that I don't want to say I doubted myself. I just didn't know. I didn't understand. But I always studied music. I was always a consumer. So if this young kid listening right now says, I have this idea that I want to do this, make it a plan from that idea and just do it. Especially when you're so young, you can make mistakes. You have all the time in the world. Not all the time in the world, but you have a head start on a lot of your peers. You have the time to make mistakes. So start early, practice early. It's like you see these basketball players or these professional athletes. These guys didn't start at 16. They didn't start at
probably like 8, 9.
They started at
even
8,
younger.
9. Yeah,
younger, 5 and 6.
Probably 4. Some of them probably started walking and started kicking the ball.
Yeah.
Right? So to become that level of elite, it requires a great amount of work.
Wow. Guys, I think that's a great way to wrap this week's episode. Kid-Face, tell us where we can find you, share your socials. I mean, we obviously drop a link in the description, but it's always good to hear it from the horse's mouth, as they say.
Everything about Kid-Face will be I am Kid-Face, IAMKIDFAZE. My YouTube is probably the best way to interact with me. I respond to all my comments. I like to have a conversation. I like to leak my music on there. Instagram is cool too. Twitter, I just be talking shit on Twitter. TikTok, somebody needs to come teach me how to use TikTok.
I'm gonna get TikTok either.
I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it. I gotta get it. My manager's on my butt about that one.
Yeah.
So yeah, I am Kid-Face. YouTube.com, Kid-Face. You can just Google me. Yeah.
Cool. All right, guys. Well, that's it. Thank you, Kid-Face, for joining us this week.
Thank you for having
me. You're most welcome. More to come. We are in touch. Don't worry, guys. Don't worry. I have Kid-Face's number. We're gonna be on iMessage. We're gonna be talking and really setting some plans, both for the podcast and otherwise, because I also do music production. And I like to connect with the artists that I do have conversations with, and I think that this is a really good opportunity for Trinidad and Tobago to really step out, and as well as for you to kind of interact with the culture here as well.
Yeah, man, I need to come to Carnival.
Yeah. Well, Carnival is actually this weekend coming up here. From Carnival Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Yeah, so it's a big thing. It's a big thing, and it's the mother of all carnival. For one, because with the whole lockdown and COVID and that sort of thing, it's the first one back out, so everybody's excited.
Nice.
It's a hype. So we
Right.
can plan something. We can definitely look at, an episode where you even come to Trinidad and we do in studio thing, because we do have a setup, and we're looking
Sure.
for, having our guests in physically at some point as well. So
For
it
sure.
would be a vibe. Yeah, yeah.
Nah, I'll
All
be in
right,
Trinidad
guys.
this time
Yeah,
soon.
yeah. All right, guys. So that's it for this week. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Please subscribe. I've been saying it since.
We need more subscribers.
Yes, we need to get at least 1,500. I mean, we have the followers and the listenership across all of the audio platforms already. People subscribed on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all of the other ones, Deezer, and whoever. But we need to get the YouTube subs up. Please, please, I'm begging y'all. Alright, so that's it. Like, share, comment, subscribe, and we will see y'all and we will hear y'all next week. Peace out, guys.